Plaintiff, Tashiana Shaw, says the defendant is her sister, and she claims this is the longest they've gotten along because they fight constantly. Tashiana says the defendant is violent, and the police have been called during some of their fights. Tashiana is suing her sister for unpaid rent. Defendant Fajr Shaw admits that she and Tashiana get in fights from time to time, but she claims Tashiana puts on a front, and when they go to the strip clubs, she's the first one to give money to the dancers. Fajr is countersuing for an illegal eviction and emotional distress.
Ma'am, you're suing your sister for $3,575 for unpaid rent?
Correct.
You're countersuing for $2,275 for illegal eviction and emotional distress?
Yes.
Start with you.
Your Honor, I love my sister. She's like everything to me, but this is the longest that we have gotten along with each other, because usually we end up fighting and someone gets to call the police. Well,
you have to call the police sometime?
Yeah, because she gets very violent. And I know I could be very managed.
What do you all fall out about?
A lot, everything. Like I tell her, well, you have to clean up. She gets an attitude. She starts bringing up stuff.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
That is true.
Before moving in with each other, were you all fighting a lot?
Yeah, well, not as much. I mean, it has calmed down because she's pregnant. And, you know, I have a soft spot.
Other than that, you all would physically fight? How many years of your life have
We get into it like at least twice a year.
You act like that's normal. That's very abnormal.
I thought it was normal
that's very abnormal behavior.
I thought it was normal for sisters to fight.
No, it's not normal for sisters to violently fight.
Not violently fight.
That's
well,
what you said.
No,
so you don't get violent?
Sometimes, not all the time.
How often?
Like
maybe 2 times.
Twice a year, if so.
Okay, yeah, that's abnormal. Go ahead, she acts like it's normal, but it's not, it's abnormal.
No.
All right, you all engaged in violence, 2 sisters, you say you love her so much. Then when I challenged and talked about how abnormal that was, that's when you all backed up. Not very violent, only twice a year, so I believe it's often. All right, good enough. You all are violent sisters. What else you want me to know?
My sister, she has a problem. She's a weed head. She smokes weed all the time. At first, I thought it was just for her morning sickness because she's pregnant and she had real bad morning sickness. I was taking her back and forth to the hospital to deal with this, but it's not the case.
All right, what else you want me to know?
Well, she likes to, she babysits. So she babysits and she gets money and she goes spend it on weed. She actually makes popcorn, actually.
She makes popcorn?
Yeah.
All right, let me get to you, and you tell me something you want me to know. Other than what have you told me? You all get violent with each other. She smokes marijuana, and you think it might be because of her medical situation, so medical marijuana, and she likes popcorn. Good enough. All right. Good enough. You have anything you want to share today?
She is not the person that she is putting on to be right now.
I hope not. Go ahead.
Okay, I admit that we do get a little violent. We fight a little, but it's not like, oh, I'm gonna kill you and stuff like that. Sometimes the police had to get called, but not all the time. But as far
Sometimes the police have to be called.
No, it had to. We haven't had any bad altercation in more than a year.
Go ahead, ma'am.
But she's the type of person to put on this bougie front.
I wouldn't call it that.
Yes,
no.
She a bougie front. But she'll end up weird in the club, and she's the drunkest one. She's the one hanging over everybody.
That's a lie.
She's the one putting money in the strippers' G-strings.
No.
She's the one even up there. She did amateur night at a strip club.
That's a lie.
And they're clear skies, no rain at all. Don't know what she did it for, but clear skies, no rain.
What type of work do you do?
I currently babysit right now. I'm 7 months pregnant, so I haven't been working.
What did you do before that?
I was working in a nursing home. I was doing housekeeping.
How far did you go with your education?
I'm currently still going to school. I just set out this semester.
For what?
Criminal justice.
Where?
At Kennedy King.
Okay, how about you?
I work and I'm in school part-time.
Pardon me?
I work and I'm in school part-time.
Where you work?
I work at the Mid-America Club.
Doing what?
I'm a server.
Doing what?
A server.
Oh, okay. You don't fight the clients, do you?
No.
She act
You
like
don't
she do
jump
when she
on the
come
clients
home.
when they when you don't like their behavior. I don't like he got an attitude. All right, let's get to the rent. $3,575. How does she owe you for rent?
Okay, March she moved in with me due to she had a house fire. She paid me half of the rent for March. We agreed that she'll pay
What was
$550 each month. So she paid me $275 in March, and she hasn't paid me since
How long
March.
did she live there?
She lived there from March until September.
All right.
We had an argument in September, and I told her that she had to leave by the 1st of the month,
You had an argument when? When did you tell her that?
September 2014.
What date?
September,
22nd.
right. I told her-
22nd?
Yes, I told her she had to leave by the 1st, which gave her 9 days.
Okay.
And I told her, well, you could pay me some money on the rent or you have to leave. And so she left.
Ma'am?
That is true. We had came to an agreement that she would let me stay with her. I gave her $275 for the month of March because I moved in with her. I was working at the time. I ended up losing my job not even 2 weeks into staying with her. And while I was waiting on my unemployment, it didn't come through. And I told her, okay, I'm not gonna be able to pay you rent,
No.
but what I can do is I can
No.
watch your child for you, and I
No,
can take her
that
back
was
and
not
forth
the
to
When
school.
did when did you all
No.
agree to that part?
It was the same month.
No.
It was-
March?
yes.
No, it wasn't. I love my sister. She's like everything to me, but this is the longest that we have gotten along with each other because usually we end up fighting and
Why?
someone gets to call the police. Well,
You have to call the police?
yeah.
sometimes?
Yeah, because she gets very violent.
Plaintiff Tashiana Shaw says the defendant is her sister, and she claims they've gotten in several violent fights. And at times, the police have gotten involved.
Okay, go ahead.
So we came to the agreement that I'll be watching her child for her. I asked her what time does she get out of school and what time does she have to do whatever it is she do. She said, okay, this is what it is. My child gets out of school at so-and-so time, pick her up this, woo, woo, and that. So I watch her child from 3:30 until the time she gets off work, maybe about 3 days a week, Tuesday through Thursday, because Friday she goes to,
In exchange for rent?
yes, in exchange for rent,
All right. And how many hours a day? I'm sorry.
8 hours. Because she's with me from the time that she gets out of school until the time that her mother gets home, which is some nights not until 12, 1 o'clock.
You work afternoons?
I have a swing shift, so I work in the morning, sometimes I work
It's
in the
mainly evenings.
Primarily what?
primary mornings or nights, it depends.
No, there's one is more than the other, I'm sure, unless it's exactly even.
Nights then.
Nights then. That's
Yes.
that's your
Evening,
defense.
yeah.
Nights then. Good enough. And now you look over there and do all that. Let me explain something to you. I'm not her. I'm not any of these folks that you like to engage in these confrontations with you. I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna throw you out of my court. You need to get away from that violent activity. And, I hope you're not violent with anybody other than her. And one of these days, she's going to lose her temper and pull something out, and it's going to be lights out for you. Go ahead, ma'am. So you say it was in exchange for babysitting. Has she babysat, ma'am?
She is in the house with my child. Yes, she is. No, we did not agree on her babysitting my child.
Did she babysit from March to September?
No.
Okay. You said something about she was in the house with your
Right, she
child.
babysits other people's children at my home.
We're talking about your child, ma'am.
No, she doesn't babysit.
All right. You don't have a child there at the house when she's there babysitting?
My child is at the home, but she's
How
not
old
babysitting.
is your
She's
child?
9.
9-year-old?
Yes,
No,
she's
she's
9.
babysitting your child. Your counterclaim for $2,275 is for what?
Illegal eviction and emotional distress.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she told me September 22nd. Everything was all right. Everything
She
was
told
going
you to
good.
move and you moved?
She told me I had to be out.
Did she touch your things?
No,
Did she throw them out?
no,
Did she lock the door, change the locks?
No.
All right, so she took no action toward that eviction. She told you 9 days before you actually moved, she said she's going to have you move.
no. She told you need to be out by the 1st.
Okay, right, and you left when? Before the 1st?
No, I got to my mom's house exactly.
Before the first?
Well,
Did you move before the first?
I moved. Yes, my things were moved before the first. I didn't
All
get to
right,
my
well
mom's.
then you moved earlier than she told you to. So you
I
didn't
thought
go
that
beyond her order.
You have 30 days to tell
That's
someone
the
they have
judge.
to
That's
be
if
out.
you want to protest moving, but you didn't want to protest. In fact, you left earlier. So I'm going to send you ladies along your way. Because, yeah, being with a 9-year-old for 8 hours while you're gone is babysitting. You can look up there, you can shake your behind, shake your eyes, or shake your head, as long as you shake it on the way out of here, because your claim is dismissed. Yours is too. Have a good day.
I have nothing against her. My son
She
loves
just-
her, so.
I watch
go
her
back
kids,
to
but we can't like be together. Like she always does this.
I always do this.
Yeah, she owes my mother money, like for.
Call your mom now and ask her, do I owe her money?
How about you call her?
You can do it.
No, you
Since you say I owe your mother money, our mother, you can
Yes.
call her now and ask her. I could have
Oh, no.
sworn it's the opposite.
This is why I don't deal with her.
This is why?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.